Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Personality pick. Another week, another interview. We're back in full force. Joining me today is 7-0 prospect out of Augusta, Georgia, Malcolm Wellmaker, who I'm willing to bet hard-earned money this man will be in the UFC in the Dana White Contender Series within these next two seasons, if not this next season. 3 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub, and 2 by decision. Guys, help me welcome future UFC superstar, as my guy the battle would say. Malcolm
What's
Wellmaker.
going
Malcolm,
on?
how are you doing today?
I'm good, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you on the show, and I'm happy to have you on the show. Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for saying I'm gonna be a future UFC star. That's big, man. I appreciate that, man.
Hey, I don't mean to add the pressure, and I'm sure Dan doesn't mean to do the same thing, but just looking over your tape, man, you can see it. There's
Thank
there's
you,
something
man.
brewing. There's something brewing for sure.
Thank you. I believe it too, man. I believe it too. It's gonna happen. It's gonna come. Those opportunities gonna get in front of me, and I'm gonna smash them, man.
100%. I could see it.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Awesome. So, Malcolm, let's just start with this. What got you into martial arts, and when did you realize it was something you wanted to take a little bit more seriously and become like a martial artist as a career path?
Yeah. So for me, man, it's almost just the story of a casual. I just wanted to get in shape. I was out of high school. I flunked out of college. I was, drinking pretty much every day, smoking. I had been smoking for a long time, and my metabolism was slowing down. I wasn't a skinny guy in high school no more. I was getting a belly, and I didn't like it. So I started looking into different ways to get in shape. And lifting weights never really appealed to me. So I had some friends who convinced me to try MMA. And one of the guys I knew from childhood, he was competing as an amateur at the time. He brought me to Fagler's where I train at today. And I went in there first day, bro. I got wrecked. It was tough, man. It was bad, you know.
That's what
But it
happened.
yeah. But it was fun, man. And I came back and I enjoyed it. I got better and better, man. I started falling in love with it. Conor McGregor was taking over the sport at the time. This was 2017, around Nate Diaz too, you know. So
Uh-huh.
he was taking over the sport. I was watching his highlights every night, all his fights, man. I was obsessed with it. So about 9 months in, my coach asked me if I wanted to do a kickboxing match, which I wasn't even eyeing competition. And I did one, which it was in my hometown of Augusta, and got a TKO. And ever since then, man, it's just been building, building, building. And went
Ooh,
pro, went on Icon, got the knockouts in front of Jorge Masvidal, and started realizing like I could do something. I could do something
uh-huh.
big, and now it's to the point that a lot of people, including myself, believe I'm gonna make a big impression in the UFC.
Absolutely, man. And one big thing that I took out of what you just said was you kept showing up.
Yeah,
You go to the training, you got your ass handed to you, but you kept showing up. What was
absolutely.
that mental like? How did you guide yourself through that? Because a lot of people show up for the first session to two sessions or first
Right.
two classes, and they never show back up. What made you want to keep going?
I'm gonna be real with you. I think my situation was special because we used to do a conditioning workout every Saturday, sprinting bleachers, downtown on the Riverwalk. And it took me 5 times showing up just to finish the workout. Like the first 4 times, I literally threw up. You know what I mean?
Uh,
But the people around me convinced me that like I could be somebody, that I could be special. It was like they was like speaking these like affirmations into me, telling me like, bro, you can do it. You can be a pro. They would show me pictures of Ben Henderson and be like, you can be like him. You know what I'm saying? And I believed them. I believed them, man. They just motivated me, and they gave me so much love and encouragement. And I had never felt that kind of energy before. So I was believing them, and it started coming true, man. So I had good people around me, and I listened, man. So that's how it worked out for me.
that's amazing. And in
Yeah.
that first fight, that kickboxing fight you were talking about, was that like amateur where you were going with full pads and headgear as well? You still
Yep.
got the knockout?
Yeah, I got so it was TKO and but full headgear, full boxing gloves, full shin pads. Went in there. It's a horrendous fight. I hope y'all don't find it on the internet, but it was
And
horrendous, man. I went in there. I put the pace on them, man. I just wanted to brawl and
trust
got a
me,
second
I
round
know
finish.
that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I met Dan actually. The guy that put us in contact with
Absolutely.
my second kickboxing match, and I actually I hit him with a right hand that gave him the chicken legs with headgear and boxing gloves in the second round, and that finished the fight. So I had some power from the beginning, man.
Just so you guys could know, like for all those who are watching this, hitting someone through headgear, it's very hard to feel any impact. Been through this firsthand. I've fought
Yeah,
with headgear before. I'm gonna be fighting soon with full contact headgear as
yeah.
well. You don't really see knockouts. It's very rare unless it's like a crumbling body shot or someone gets like
Right,
his elbow broken from a kick.
right.
You don't see people getting wobbled. So just
That's
you
right.
saying that's nuts. I don't even know what kind of power you got.
It
I'm
was
sick.
insane, man. It was insane. God given, honestly, man, because I was still pretty fresh into the sport, man, and so for me to hit guys and get that kind of effect from them, it was crazy. I couldn't explain it, man.
That's amazing. Now, looking back at a couple of your fights, the fight that stood out to me was the fight against Zakaria Kamara, where you went to split decision. You won that fight.
Yeah.
It was such a grind from bell to bell. Take me through that fight, and what were your emotions like after the decision was read?
Man, so before that fight, in my amateur career, man, I competed really frequently outside of COVID. I mean, I'm talking about, 4 times, 5 times a year. And then it was kind of the same thing when I went into my pro career. Like I got my first couple fights, back to back to back. And I went on a dry spell trying to find a fight
Mhm,
before I got Zachariah Kamara. And so it was when I had just signed with Iridium. It was a guy, when I came to them, I told them, like, we on a dry spell. We can't find any fights. The only people that'll accept are people that's, way too experienced and unfair,
mhm.
matchups. And the only people that are fair fights won't fight me. So they found me this guy that, nobody would fight because he was one of those guys on the entry level pros that was just, a prospect. And listen, man, his tapology say 5'11". That boy like 6'2". Maybe,
Yeah, no
maybe
way.
my gauge is off, but that kid's tall. I'm almost 5'11", and you can see us in the face off, bro. He's got 4 inches on me. So that was the first surprise. Second, it was all the way in Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky. We were supposed to take a plane to Cincinnati, and we got to the Atlanta airport. Plane got canceled. Frontier had terrible airlines. We couldn't even get a refund. We ended up driving 7 more hours from the Atlanta airport. It was terrible. Cut weight in the bathtub, overnight before the weigh-ins. It was all botched. But I mean, I made weight, got to the weigh-in, saw this dude. I'm like, man, he is incredibly tall. And then, he's obviously very, very well versed in judo. You can watch him our fight. He does go
Mhm.
go for a lot of tosses and stuff.
Yep.
But all that being said, bro, I at that point I was knocking everybody out. I was on a win streak. Jorge Masvidal was behind me, and I felt no different about this dude. So I go through all these little humps in the road, and fight night comes. And it was within the first 20 seconds, bro, he hit me with a jab from downtown. I mean, his range was much longer than anybody I had fought.
Mhm.
And that jab was so clean, it just woke me up to be like, okay, you got to be extremely cautious because this dude's going to be a real challenge. And all fight, man, I struggled to get to him, man. He threw a lot of those low kicks towards the knee, that kept the space control. And anytime I got close to him, man, he'd clinch, he'd go for throws. And it was an absolute grind. And then, bro, they were making him out to be like, a cardio machine. I mean, I'm hopping on interviews with these guys. They're like, oh, he runs like 100 miles a week. He doesn't get tired. The only people he lost to was a Russian from American Top Team, Coconut Creek. Like they were making him out to be,
Mhm.
incredible. And I respected all that. But when I actually got in the cage, I started realizing it wasn't just because, they liked him. It was because he was good. So after the first round, I went back to my corner, and I was for the first time in my professional career, I was having to have dialogue with them about how I was struggling to get to him, how I was struggling to put shots on him. Um, Throughout the whole course of the fight, you'll realize you see me actually take him down. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
I don't look, man. I wrestle because I got to, not because I want to. You know. So to know that I had to take it to the ground to be able to control that fight was insane in itself. But thankfully, I had that in my bag to be able to rely on. He was just good, man. He was a huge step above the competition I had faced before. And we ended up winning the split decision. I thought it was going to be more of a unanimous decision, but it was a split decision, understandably. Um, and if you want to talk about emotions after the fight, bro, I was devastated. I was devastated, man. I went to the back. I held it together, obviously when the announcement was being read and talking to the commentators and everything. But I went to the back, bro, and I broke down to my team because that was the first time I felt like, there's a judge out there that thought I lost. Like, did I disappoint people? I didn't get the finish. I was knocking everybody out. It hurt me. It hurt real bad. And it put a fire up under me, but a very, very valuable experience against a very, very talented guy. He's going to be in the UFC as well. I don't doubt it.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Yeah, and Zachary is no joke. He's very talented himself.
Yeah.
And just looking at that fight, when you're getting KOs in the first round in the first couple of minutes, you're used to getting those quick knockouts.
Yeah.
Going from that to a grind decision where it's a split decision against someone who's a high-level judo player coming out of top team, it's a different game than what you're used to, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And overcoming those mental humps in the fight, I already know what you were going through. It's tough. You were probably thinking to yourself that you're doubting your every single freaking step.
Yep.
So just going through that and going through it and not crumbling under the pressure says a lot about your character. I'll tell you that, because a lot of people would have failed in your spot. A lot of people would have started to gas out and give up.
Yeah.
You chose the other route and you won the fight. So props to you. Man. That was such a good fight to watch over when I was looking through it.
Yeah, it was good, man. And you talking about, that's his backyard. He stayed, not far from the venue itself at all. So, bro, he throw a jab that would graze me. He throw a kick that would graze me. And the crowd would go, oh, and I'd land a hard shot. You hear my corner go, yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, it was like one of those things, man, where I just felt like the world was against me. And, we was 9 hours away from home and I did not want to go home with an L, but so good, so good for my development, man, and that fight along with others, that was those kind of stepping stones gave me the confidence I have now to where I watch these guys on these UFC Vegas cards and I'm like, I can go in there and I can rock with those guys. I know I can, because I'm even much better than I was back when I fought him. You know what I mean? So it was incredibly good for me, man. Great fight for me.
I'm glad. Now on to the finer things. I was watching a couple of your fights, and after that knockout victory against Langston Sykes, first of all, god damn.
Yeah, that one was sick, man. Sick, bro.
Yeah. After that knockout, you mentioned that was your best performance ever. Like, that's the best you've ever felt. Absolutely. Tell me why you felt that way. Like, what made you think that way? That was your best performance of all time,
bro. Number one, the style of the knockout, how viral it was, how devastating it was, how that's the type of knockout you hope and wish and pray you go get, know. And then it was my first time in front of Jorge Masvidal. So it was incredible. Like the night was just magical. It was my first time fighting in Savannah, so we got to see River Street, and it was all great. It was at the Savannah Convention Center. It was my first time on UFC Fight Pass, and it was like I only fought for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, but from bell to knockout, man, I was in good position. I was patient. I made reads. The body kicks were crazy. The trip I did was crazy. And it all was just enough for me to lead into the most devastating shot I ever put on anybody. And it was my left hand. I think that at the time, that was the first time I ever knocked anybody out with my left hand. So it was insane. It was big for me, man. It was magical. It still give me chills when I think about it today, man. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I was surprised too. It was the left hand rather than the right, which is what we're used to.
It was insane, and since then I got a lot of confidence in my left hand. Since then too, man, I done put hard shots on guys with my left hand, so it made me a better fighter. Jorge Masvidal, bro, he was over the moon, bro.
I bet.
Some people don't know this, but when I hopped the cage and I went up to him, he dapped me up. He showed me so much love, bro. He pulled this envelope over to him, pulled out a wad of cash, counted out $1,000 and gave it to me. And he was like, "That's my knockout bonus, a little bit extra." And I didn't even know how much money it was at the time. And bro, this entry level MMA, we're not getting paid a lot. So I take the money, I give it to my coach, and I get back in the cage, and we go back after it's all said and done. I'm like, bro, he gave me some money. What was that about? And he was like, well, I got your fight check money, and you got an extra $1,000. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? So it was, bro, that's my dog. Look, I don't care what nobody say. According to me and him besties. You know what I'm saying? So I love it, man. I love it. It was incredible, man. Still to this day, man. I look back at that night and it's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, that's actually the second question I was gonna follow up with was, tell me about that relationship you have with Jorge Masvidal. It seems like every time you get that highlight reel knockout at Icon, you're going up to him, you're dabbing him up, you're
Oh
saying what's
yeah,
up, and you're back into the cage. Like, how has
yeah.
that relationship helped you develop your way into the fighter you are today?
Well, hell, the very first time I ever saw him, man, he walked into the weigh-ins for the first event I fought for him, and he walked up to me and called me by name and was like, "Yo, what's up, you Malcolm?" Right? I'm like, "Yeah," like, and he like, "Yeah, I'm excited to see you perform." So like from the very jump, he was a down to earth dude, man. Him and his guy Dean too, you know, they work together real closely, and Dean shows me so much love. Me, him, and his assistant Levi Fountain, bro. We got a group chat. We be in there like, you know, talking to each other, like sharing music and stuff. So when I met these people that I thought were, you know, bigger than life almost, because I was always, you know, on the local scene. I had never done anything on that stage. When I met these people and they embraced me and they told me the same way everybody from Augusta told me, bro, you're gonna be big, you're gonna go to UFC. What it did for my confidence was incredible, man. And to get their stamp of approval, for them to every time they see me, they light up, you know, the same way I light up when I see them. It just lets me know that I really am on the right path and I really do have the potential to accomplish the things that they say. It's not just me trying to speak it into existence. It's actually there, and it's something that's tangible.
Yeah, and I mean, Jorge Masvidal is no joke. He has an eye for talent, and that's the reason why his promotions are succeeding the way they are.
Oh
So
yeah,
there's a reason, and there's a reason. Your
absolutely.
talent speaks for itself, and whoever has an eye, like even if you don't really have an eye for MMA, you will enjoy watching Malcolm Wellmaker fight. It's
Thank you,
phenomenal.
bro. Thank you. I appreciate it, bro. I
Of
appreciate
course,
it.
of course. Now, what's next for Malcolm Wellmaker, and has the UFC reached out to you in regards to the Dana White Contender Series at all for the upcoming season, or has there been like rumors around it?
All right, so let me phrase this the right way. So I if anybody knows a lot of the management or the industry of the UFC, my manager is Jason House. You know,
Shout out Jason
Brandon
House,
Moreno,
my
Brandon
guy.
Royval, Sean Strickland, bro, Cheeto Vera, he plugged, bro. Like he
Mhm.
got a real name.
I think my guy Themba as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, bro, he's a lot of people don't even know it, but he'll be in a lot of the guys' corner, a lot of the back room when you watching these UFC events, and we talk all the time. And he's very, very happy with my progress. So, with that being said, he told me just wait on a phone call. So,
Let's go.
you know, for what that means, you know, I don't know what the next opportunity gonna be. It could be short notice. It could be prelim. It could be, you know, contender series, or I mean, even like in a undesirable scenario, I might even have to fight for like a Fury FC belt before getting my shot. But whatever it is, I trust that he gonna give me the right step to take to get me where I want to go. So he said, keep your weight low, stay ready, and so I'm doing that, man. I'm eating clean. I'm still running my miles. I'm sparring. I'm training. We got other fighters in camp, so I'm not missing a beat, man. And it's a good feeling to feel like I did enough on the local scene to make my manager happy to do what he need to do. So he got everything he need to work, and my job right now is just to stay ready. So when the phone call come through, y'all will know.
Absolutely, man. And is there one that you would prefer, whether it's a short notice fight or if it's the Contender Series or the down the Fury route? I know you said in the Fury route would probably not be the one you'd prefer, but
Right.
between the Contender Series and short notice, what would you probably want to do first?
I want short notice. And and
There you
and
go.
the reason why is because, you know, you get on an actual UFC event, you know what I mean?
Smart
Aside
man.
from that, like I keep my weight low enough to where I could make weight on a week's notice. So it's not like I have to kill myself to stay here. And on top of that, I'm looking for that 50K bonus. Like, yeah, you know
Hell
how I
yeah.
fight, right? So I'm going out there, I'm trying to knock somebody out. If I don't knock them out, I promise they'll be entertained. So that's the ideal route for me, and how I want to be. Cause you know, I look, like I said, I wrestle because I got to, not because I want to. So I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna put leather on them. So short notice route would be the best for me. But you know, like I said, whatever comes my way, I'll be ready, man. And I'll be ready to get after it.
I like the way you think.
Absolutely, man. Thank you,
Smart
man.
man. Now, before I let you go, Malcolm, I had to ask, how did your nickname Walla the Machine come around?
Well, Wall is just a little nickname I've had since I was young, man. All my friends call me Walla. I used to want to be a rapper, and all these different phases, but Walla was the name that stuck. So like
Uh-huh.
from like late middle school through like all my high school, adult life, all that, my friends call me Walla. But the machine came from my coach, pretty much. That's all to it. We was getting ready to go into my very first fight. And it's ironic because I had a dude that I worked with, that was he was a fitness fanatic, man. He helped me learn a lot about lifting and getting in shape. And he's been close to me throughout this whole journey. But he told me, a few weeks before my first fight, he was like, man, your fight name should be Malcolm the Machine Wellmaker. And I was like, I don't know, bro. Like I just kind of just took it and I was like, we'll see. But like right before my fight in Augusta, man, we was all cutting weight. We was in the gym in sauna suits. And Pops, I call my head coach Pops because he's like a dad to me. But he was like, Malcolm, I got it. I was like, what? He was like, we gonna call you Malcolm the Machine Wellmaker. And I'm like, the machine, bro. Like, look, no, I'm not wanting to be harsh or like, go against the grain, but like, you feel me? So, but anyway, I love that it resonated with two people that I admire so much, and it means something to them that I took that name on. And then aside from that, I work pretty hard, man. I work pretty hard,
Mhm.
man. So I like you saw the Zachariah Kamara fight. Cardio was not
Uh-huh.
a concern of mine. Fought Taylor Moore for 5 minute rounds, bro. I was trying to bang out the whole time,
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So as far as like it relating to my style, like for sure we can take that part of it. But I'm planning on using it as soon as I get in to call out Marab. I gotta let them know
There
it's
you
only one machine. See how fast I can get to the top. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's kind of where it came from, and that's just what we stuck with, man. We running with it.
That's beautiful, man. And I see it on your sweatshirt too. It's
Oh yeah, man.
great.
Yeah, man. I work with a clothing brand called Grizzly, and we did some merch when I was coming up that sold really well. Donated all the profits to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So this
Wow,
is like a prototype of something we're working on. So it's more stuff in the works, man.
that's amazing.
Yes,
Well,
sir. Yes,
Malcolm,
sir.
it was a pleasure having you on. Once
Thank
I
you.
end the show, just stay on for a second. I want to talk to you backstage as well.
Will do. Will do.
Guys, thank you so much for watching the interview. Malcolm,
Love,
thank you so
man.
much for being such a great sport and for all the great answers. It was a really fun interview. I loved every second of it, man.
I had a blast, man. I appreciate the love, man.
I'm glad. I'm glad. All right, guys. Until next time, until the next interview,